Éfeta. Éfeta es una palabra con mucha influencia en la Evangelia. Porque para nosotros es una invitación para abrir cada parte de nuestras vidas para Dios. Éfeta es una palabra muy buena para empezar una vida nueva con Dios. Be open. There's so many times in our lives where that's all we have to do. Be open. Be open to hearing God's word. Be open to speaking God's word. Listen before you speak. There's an old saying that I was told a lot as a child. A closed mouth gathers no foot. Porque hay un dicho en inglés con gente quien hablan demasiado. Muchas veces usamos nuestros pies en nuestros mouths. We put our feet in our mouths. Es un dicho en inglés. That we don't always think before we speak. But if we listen first and allow the Word of God to change our hearts, if we are open to the truth that exists in the gospel, then when we speak with wisdom. We speak with intelligence. We speak the truth. Pero primero necesitamos abrir nuestros mentes y corazones para invitar las palabras de Dios entre estos. Pero por muchos de nosotros, our hearts are closed to God because we are hard of heart. Very similar to in the Old Testament in the book of Exodus, when we hear about Pharaoh, that his heart is hardened. And so when God speaks to a heart that is hardened, it can't change. But to a heart that hears the voice of God and recognizes it, then es posible para cambiar. But only when we first go to God. In our second reading today from the book of James, we hear that we are not supposed to judge based on how poor someone looks or how rich someone looks. Pero este es un problema que mucha gente tiene en nuestro mundo. Ropa rica, bueno. Un coche con más dinero, bueno. Un trabajo con mucho dinero, bueno. Pero hay un dicho en el Nuevo Testamento quien dice, el amor de dinero is the root of all evil. The love of money is the root of all evil. Dinero no es malo, pero cuando gustamos dinero más que una relación con Dios, o más que otras buenas cosas en nuestro mundo, dinero es una invitación para malas cosas en nuestras vidas. Necesito más cosas. I need more things, more money. Pero recuerden que Jesús dice sobre dinero y sobre cosas. What have you gained if you've gotten the whole world? If you own the whole world and you lose your soul, what have you really gained? It's a reminder to us that each and every one of us at some point in our lives, we're going to die. Y todos de las cosas que tenemos ahora, y todo el dinero que ganamos en nuestras vidas, después de nuestro muerto, está aquí. No es con nosotros en cielo o el diablo. Es aquí. Pero por muchos de nosotros es la única cosa que tenemos en nuestras mentes. Necesito más y más y más y más rico. Porque quien tiene la más dinero, tienen más poder y más fuerza. And nobody likes to be picked on. But again, what did Christ say about that? He said, remember, if they judge you and they persecute you for the sake of righteousness, recuerden that they did it to me first. And so when we come into contact with people, this is something that I am still growing into learning as an adult. How, no matter who comes into my life, how do I greet them as Christ? How do I greet them with love? Because that's what we're told to do in our readings today. That we aren't supposed to judge a book by its cover, but instead to be open, our ears, our mouths, our hearts, our minds, to proclaiming the gospel to every person in the world. Not just with our tongues, pero también con nuestras acciones. How do we see the other with love? You know, in an election year, it's always interesting to talk about love, because many times we have such hate in our hearts towards the other. If you're a Republican, you hate Democrats. If you're a Democrat, you hate Republicans. If you're an OU fan, you hate Texas fans. If you're a Texas fan, you hate OU fans. If you're a Manchester United fan, you just hate everybody. Football. De Inglaterra, pero fútbol. And yet, Christ is calling us to something different. He's calling us to love our enemy and to see in our neighbor Christ himself. Are we open to that? Or have we closed our hearts off? You've been beaten down too hard. In the United States, this was a big issue back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, that any time an authority figure would tell you to do something, we would say, we're being oppressed by the man. They're forcing us to do something we don't want to do. And then we brought it into the family, and so mom and dad become the man in a negative fashion. But how can we instead love those who hate us and welcome those that the world shuns as Christ? You know, there's a story that I once read about a new minister that was going to a church for the first time. He's being introduced at the end of the service. And so he walks in off the street, sits in the front row. He's dirty, didn't take a shower, rolled around in the mud outside just to make a point, just to see if the people that he was about to serve could love him as Christ calls them to love. So he smelled really bad, and he looked really dirty, and he sat in the front. So you know it wasn't a Catholic church, because no Catholics would choose to sit in the front. Es obvio. One of the ushers came from the back before the service started and said, "Sir, you're going to have to move to the back of the church. We've got a special spot for you." "Oh, no, I want to sit up here in the front." No, sir, please come. Don't make us forcibly move you. You have to come to the back of the church." So they went through their service, and the minister that was leaving and retiring said, "I'd like to now invite our new minister to come say a few words." And so this homeless-looking man gets up from the back and starts walking towards the front. The ushers were terrified. They thought, who is this guy? He's smelly, he's dirty, he doesn't belong here. And yet he starts walking up the aisle. As they try and tackle him, and the minister says, no, it's okay. He gets up there and says, "Hola, soy la mejor, la nueva pastor por ustedes." The faces of the people were like, and he said, "I did this for a reason. Because Christ says, whatsoever you do to the least of my people, that you do unto me." I wasn't welcomed as a stranger. I wasn't welcomed as a homeless man. Tenemos más trabajando ahora. We've got a lot of work to do. Porque nuestra relación con Dios empieza con nuestra relación con la gente en la iglesia. Y si gustamos cambiar nuestro mundo, antes cambiando nuestros corazones, es imposible. Si gustamos cambiar nuestro mundo, antes cambiando nuestra comunidad, es imposible. Empezamos en nuestra casa. Casa con su familia, casa de la iglesia, con nuestra familia en la iglesia. Hay mucho tiempo afuera de la iglesia que vemos gente entre la iglesia. ¿Hablan con ellos? ¿Recuerdan ellos recuerden que tenemos misa este fin de semana a las 7? Y tenemos clases. Y tenemos oportunidad por adoración y confesión y reconciliación y muchas cosas dentro de la iglesia. ¿Pensamos sobre esto? Don't see me. Don't recognize me. Por mucha gente es muy fácil para disappear. Por yo es imposible. Con mi colar. O sin mi colar. Esta mañana tenía ropa homeless. I had my sweatpants on, my hoodie on. I go into Walgreens and I expect nobody to see me. Hola, padre. Oh. Hola. What are you doing? Necesito más medicina. For what? Para vivir. ¿Tienes problemas de médicos? Sí. Pobrecito. No, es vida. Y sin color. They recognize me. And what's funny is, I recognize all of you all the time, and many times, the only people that will come and say hi to me in color or not, do you know who they are? Los niños. Siempre. Oh, Padre! Knuckles. High five. Esto es la razón por qué Jesús dice, unless you have the heart of a child, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. Now, niños no están perfectos. Pero también podamos aprender alguna cosa para nuestro mundo de ellos. Because they aren't cynical yet. They're pure. They're untouched by sin until they aren't. And then we teach them how to sin. We teach them how to hate. We teach them how to curse. We teach them how to hate God, how to not have time for God, how to not prioritize God. Now, I have to admit, before Mass began, I was very frustrated this evening. Porque tenía una quinceañera hace 6 horas. Y hay mucha gente en la iglesia, más que 80 gente. Y 7 minutos antes misa, solo nuestro coro. Entonces, ok, Dios, necesito su ayuda para no... Pero también, todos de nosotros necesitamos la fuerza para orar por la gente no atienda misa. Sí tenemos una obligación para atender misa cada fin de semana. Pero también tenemos la oportunidad para atender misa libre. Without fear. Hay países en nuestro mundo ahora que la oportunidad para atender misa no hay. Porque no hay sacerdotes y no hay la oportunidad porque es contra la ley del país. En algunos países ahora hay gente en el gobierno que no le gusta la iglesia, porque la iglesia siempre ofrecer esperanza. Y esperanza es el enemigo de poder. Esto es una de las razones that Jesus was arrested. Esto es uno de las razones que Blessed Stanley Rother was murdered. Because he spoke hope. He spoke love. He spoke truth in the midst of hate and fear and lies. It's difficult to speak the truth sometimes, because sometimes it's going to make someone mad. Sometimes it's just going to bluntly piss somebody off. pero la verdad no cambia. Y es la responsabilidad no solo de mí, pero con la comunidad de fe para siempre hablar la verdad. But if all we're doing is speaking it and not living it, somos hipócritas. Pero tenemos la oportunidad para cambiar. Con la gracia, la ayuda y la misericordia de Dios. Espero que hoy es el primer día por todos de nosotros para cambiar. Poco a poco, cada día, contra la fuerza de nuestro mundo. Primero, para invitar el amor de Dios entre nuestros corazones y mentes. Segundo, para vivir esas ideas en nuestras vidas. Poco a poco, yo creo que podamos hacer esto. Pero tomes todos de nosotros para cambiar nuestra ciudad. Con Dios, gracias a Dios, es posible.